Clayton?
Hello.
Hi. As we get started, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, anything that you want to share about who you are.
Okay. I'm Clayton Kennedy. I'm from Mars, Pennsylvania. I have a small construction business that I started about 7 years ago, and I race cars for a hobby.
And what's that like being a man from Mars?
Being a man from Mars is interesting. It's out of this world. It's nobody ever believes you, that's for sure. They always want to see your driver's license because they don't believe that you're from Mars.
Thank you. What got you to come to Natural Passages?
Actually, what is now my wife got me to come here. She used to intern for Jackie, which is Herb's wife, and it was one of the requirements for me before we got married that I came to the Natural Passages program. So I humored her, and after the first weekend, I was no longer doing it for her, and I think this is 4 or 5 years now in a row that I've done it. It just has made such a huge impact on my life and our relationship that I just keep coming back.
So how do you see the wisdom in her nudge for you to show up to this?
Boy, that's a tough one.
Now that it's your wisdom.
Yeah. She knew that I had a lot to learn. I hadn't really ever been outside of Mars, literally. I pretty much was convinced I'd fall off the face of the earth if I went past the outskirts of town. So she knew that if I got out here and broadened my horizons a little bit, I could probably go a lot better and go a lot more places.
Okay. Anything about her choosing to marry you and being here that is significant?
It's definitely helped our relationship. If I hadn't come up here and went through the program, I think we probably would have struggled a little bit more because I wasn't exactly what you'd call the most mature at the time, and this has definitely made me mature a little bit and has given me different ways at looking at problems that you run into in a day-to-day life being married, and allows us to sit down and take the time to address it the proper way. So,
well, for yourself, how has being here, being in part of Natural Passages, supported you in your life?
It's really helped me start to achieve my long-time goals of owning a successful business and it not owning me. Because when I came here, it definitely owned me. It was all whatever it took to get the job done, and now I've learned a little bit more through the other guys that are up here and them owning businesses and being in that type of field of how to do markup and profit and that type of stuff, which I didn't understand before. And it also helped me in my hobby, which is racing cars, really get present, and it actually improved the finishes on the racetrack by a long shot. Every time I come back from here, my dad always goes, "I don't know what the hell you do up there on a weekend, but it's unbelievable when you come back. It never looks like the same person." So.
Since you mentioned driving a race car and being present, what's the difference? Not being present and driving a race car, being present and driving a race car?
Well, I'm not going to answer that question exactly. The difference between the presence now versus the presence I had prior to the program is I don't ever second guess what I'm doing now or where I'm putting the car at on the racetrack. And I also don't second guess what I feel in the race car to relay it back to my brother to adjust the race car to make it go faster. Where prior to this program, I would contradict myself and basically let anybody that had an opinion about it tell me what the car was doing instead of me saying exactly what it was doing, and it's made a huge difference.
Sounds like some internal authority.
Yes.
As far as your experiences in the program, the learnings that have happened for you here. Is there something that you'd like to share, something that's important that stands out?
For me, I've learned that no matter how good of a childhood you think you had, there's always something that always trips you up that's in the back of your mind, and that there's patterns that you've learned over the years without even knowing that cause you to fall in the same traps over and over again. And from learning that, I've now started to notice the trip up points of that, and have really started to change how I interact with people and my family, which has also changed my family in return. So I would say that's my biggest takeaway from here.
Growing up in an environment like Mars, I can see how that could have been challenging. I know that you've been through the Natural Passages program. How do you see yourself living differently?
It's a lot more full. It's the little things now that mean the most to me. It's not so much about what I accomplished or how far I got in a day. It's more about being able to recognize and accept the compliments that people give me about the work that I do, which I was never able to do that before. I would just kind of shrug it off and keep going. And now I actually take the moment to sit there and actually listen to what they're saying and be proud of what I've done.
Big.
It is very big.
Well, for others that are interested in the program, curious and thinking about joining us in the future, how's Natural Passages useful? What would you tell them?
So I would say that anybody that was looking into doing this it's definitely a scary thing to commit to it, because it's a lot of time, 4 days a week for 4 weekends, and I had always struggled with trying to make the space for it, and every time I come up here I'm so thankful that I did. And this particular weekend I'm leaving early, and I'm already regretting that I have to leave early, but I want to go back and race, and I want to make sure that I'm at a wedding, and the group's very receptive of that, but it almost makes you feel like a party is missing for the weekend after you've been up here for so many times and you're not with the guys. So
Yeah. You know what you're missing.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Clay.
Thank you, Adam.